Hey everybody, this is AF, the creator of DeadPXLZ and the DeadPXLZ ecosystem. It is September 8th, 2024, and I am broadcasting from the Pixels headquarters, which also happens to be my home. As you can see, I'm still wearing my PJs, and there's a very good reason for that because, well, obviously it's still morning, as you can tell from this. I wanted to make this clip because this very impromptu clip because I was having my coffee just now and I was scrolling through Cardano Twitter, as one does on a very lovely Sunday morning, such as this one. And I couldn't help but notice that there's a lot of confusion with regards to Cardano and its new Voltaire era, which we transitioned to after this infamous Chang hard fork, which happened just recently. Now, there's a lot of confusion with regards to a lot of stuff. And I gotta admit, a lot of it is pretty technical, and a lot of it hasn't, unfortunately, it hasn't been communicated properly. Now, I'm here to help you out and help you understand and educate you in the ways of Voltaire and in the ways of Cardano governance. Okay, so I'm just gonna get to it. By the way, this is not a dev diary, so don't get your hopes up. We're not talking about the game. We're gonna talk about the government, the Cardano government. Dev diary is up in a week from now, so we're not gonna be talking about Pixel Wars. Now, let's get to it. Cardano governance. Okay. Cardano governance. Now, in order for you to understand what Cardano governance means, we need to look at things before the Chang hard fork and after. So let's do before. To work on my lines, and after. Okay, cool. And this is Chang. Okay, so before Chang, you probably knew this already, but in case you didn't, Cardano was governed by its by a few governing entities, which were pretty much centralized. And you had your IOG, which is one of the founding entities of Cardano. You had Emorgo, which is also one of the founding entities, and so on. These entities were obviously represented by some actual people, but I'm not going to get into that. Now, these entities, each of these, there were like seven ents. Not the Lord of the Rings ents, but entities. I think seven, right? Seven, whatever, a few. I'll probably correct myself if I'm wrong. Anyways, these seven entities, these governing entities of Cardano, basically each of them had a key, which they used to vote on everything related to Cardano, be it hard forks, anything, parameter changes, anything like that. So they basically, the entire fate of the blockchain was in their hands, right? So they have like these, let's draw like a nice key here, right? So these entities, each of them had these keys, and they basically, what they did was just use them to sign whatever transaction proposed, whatever changed to the blockchain. Obviously, every change that we want to propose to the blockchain is going to be done on chain. That means we need to submit a transaction. Now, in order for the change to pass, before Chang, basically you had to have like a supermajority or something, not supermajority, but like 5 out of the 7 entities. And again, I'm fuzzy on the numbers, so don't quote me on that, but number. Okay, so most of the, if the majority of the entities were voted for, then the hard fork would come, not necessarily hard fork, but the whatever change needed to happen, it would get approved, quote unquote, and then moved into production on the blockchain. So this used to be before. Now the Chang hard fork happened recently, and we found ourselves like the John Travolta meme with in Pulp Fiction. Like, what do we do from here? What happens now, right? So essentially, what happens is all of these keys got burnt the moment we reached Chang. They got burnt, and basically this meant that the previous governing entities handed over governance of the blockchain to its community. Now, what this means is we get 3 new governing entities formed by the community. These 3 new governing entities in Voltaire, the Voltaire era that we're in after the Chang hard fork, are 1, the Constitutional Committee, and we will get into it briefly. 2, the DReps, and 3, the SPOs, stake pool operators. Now, one does not exclude the other, so you could potentially be a DRep and an SPO. You could, ideally, you're not all of these at once, because it's kind of not necessarily, maybe conflict of interest and stuff like that. We're not going to get into all that. We're just going to look at it purely from a theoretical view, and then I'm going to show you exactly what you can do with your new governance superpowers. Let's call them that. Okay, cool. So just to briefly sum it up, before we had centralized governing committee. After, we have a decentralized governing committee formed by the Cardano community. Just to be clear, anyone in Cardano can be one of these roles. So community. I'm not going to spell it. Just let's call it community, right? Now, we need to get into each and every one of these and look closely at what each means. Like briefly, I'm not going to get into super details, but just so you know. And afterwards, I'm going to show you how you can submit proposals, vote, delegate your vote, and stuff like that. So let's clear the board. Now, the very first government body that we're going to be talking about is the Cardano Constitutional Committee. Constitutional, bear with me, committee. The Constitutional Committee is formed of several individuals, so let's call it X people, but not a lot of people, like, I don't know, 8, 10, I don't know, something. So a fairly low number of people who are in charge of upholding the Cardano Constitution. So uphold Constitution. Now, we don't yet have an official constitution. It's still in its early draft stages as we speak. But basically, what this constitution does is, like any constitution, is basically sets out some like clear, unbreakable rules that we need to follow as a community, and that we obviously vote on and agree on, and that we can't basically break. So, because we're still in the bootstrapping stages of Voltaire, the this current constitutional committee is actually an interim constitutional committee formed obviously by members of the community, the Cardano community, which people voted for, and then they got nominated to be part of the constitution of this interim constitutional committee. Charged with obviously a very difficult task, which is the which is bringing the very first version of the Cardano Constitution to life. Now, this is a very important role, obviously, because they get to decide on a lot of stuff, and basically they get to outline the do's and don'ts of Cardano in the future. So very, very important. Now, in terms of extra info on the matter, and I will link this and everything that we see here in the comments down below. In terms of extra information, there's these CIP. There's the CIP page, CIP Cardano Improvement Proposal. It's basically the community worked on for a while now. And there's a lot of workshops and stuff like that. That basically outlines what the Constitutional Committee can and cannot do. And obviously, the Constitutional Committee is chosen by the Cardano holders, right? So you got to vote on who is part or who isn't part of the Cardano Constitutional Committee. There's also obviously we can issue at some point if we don't like them or something, unfortunately something unconstitutional happens or they start behaving unconstitutional, there is a vote of no confidence. Then we can push as a community and basically discard the current constitutional committee and propose a new constitutional committee. But these are like the nitty-gritties, and every question that you have is answered in this document. Now, we can look at the Constitutional Committee. It's like for ease of, for an easy comparison, we can look at them. We can make an analogy with Lord of the Rings, right? So for this body of governance, these are let's call them the elves, right? So these are the elves, the fairest of them all, with their pointy ears. Right? And a crossbow. Not a crossbow, but like a bow and arrow. Let's do an attempt. Right? So these are the Constitutional Committee members, or elves, for our example. Cool. So we talked about the Constitutional Committee, right? It's a very important role. Now, swipe the slate clean and move on to the second role. Second role is the DRep. Now, this stands for delegation representative or something. It doesn't really matter, but it's a very important role as well, because now things start to get more and more rooted in the community. Now, anyone can register as a DRep. So anyone can register. There is no set number of DReps, so no DRep number limit. And also, since anyone can register, obviously, in order to not be able to make, not spam the network, in order to be able to register, you need to make a 500 ADA deposit. Now, this 500 ADA deposit, obviously, you get back the moment that you decide to deregister. So, what do these DReps do exactly? So in order to be a DRep, as we said, you need to do the 500 ADA deposit. And that's about it, basically. In terms of their capabilities, they're like the most, let's call them the most powerful governance entity, in my opinion at least. And we're going to be calling them the dwarves in our Lord of the Rings analogy. Let's see if we can actually draw. Okay. The dwarves with their big beards. And axe, pointy axes. I apologize for this horrible drawing, but hopefully you get the point. The dwarves. Now, the dwarves have very complex capabilities, and we can actually look at the CIP for more information. But basically, I think I found a very good and detailed Cardano forum post that outlines each of these entities' capabilities. So, as I said, the DReps seem to be the most powerful, sort of the most versatile and a governing entity, as in they can get to vote on all of these governance actions. And since we didn't speak about it, let's do now. Governance action is basically a preset. A preset of actions that we can vote on, right? So this is like the number of actions that we can vote on as a community in the new governance era. And obviously these things can be changed, but right now this is where we're at. And you get a short description of each of these next to them. But unlike the Constitutional Committee or the SPOs, the DReps actually get to vote on all of these actions. So basically, motion of no confidence. We spoke earlier, if we want to overthrow the current Constitutional Committee, we can push a motion of no confidence, on which obviously the Constitutional Committee is in conflict of interest and cannot vote, so they need to be recused. Also, a new Constitutional Committee, new threshold, new terms, and so on and so forth. The Constitutional Committee cannot vote on this, but the DReps can. SPOs can't vote on updating the Constitution or protocol promoters changes or treasury withdrawals. So SPOs are also limited in their voting, but DReps can vote on all of this stuff. That's why I'm saying that the DRep is the most versatile role. And anybody can become a DRep, so tread lightly. And now the cool thing with these DReps is that the community can delegate their votes to the DRep that they like. So we basically get introduced to a new form of delegation, which is different than the stake pool operator delegation that we're going to be talking in just a second. Now, I personally registered as a DRep myself. So if you want to delegate to AF, you can. You can actually delegate, and I'm going to show you how. Now, in order to, take the pressure off of people having to vote each time a governance action is required, and by the way, you can, the DRep basically takes all this responsibility away that the moment that you delegate your vote towards them. So choose wisely, right? You're a community member, you want to delegate your vote to a DRep so that they can vote in your name. Choose wisely. And we've actually gotten a lot of the delegate representatives registered on chain. I am one of them, as I said, and we're going to get into it a little bit, just after we're done with looking at the governance bodies, at the governing bodies in new Voltaire era. So DReps. Okay. Moving on to the third and final governing body, which is the SPOs. And we're not going to dwell on this matter a lot, but basically what the SPOs can do, and you're already familiar with SPOs, they're like the stake pool operators of Cardano, and you get passive ADA rewards by delegating to them. And I'm also an SPO, by the way, so the Pixels pool, the Pixels stake pool, which you can delegate to, and is not yet completely saturated. It's actually been up and running for like 3.5 years now. So you can still delegate with like 56 million ADA delegated, which is very cool. But yeah, anyways, moving back to this, the SPOs can vote with the stake that they're with delegated stake. They can vote with their delegated stake. So basically with this, precisely with this amount that we're looking at here, the SPOs can vote using that, and they can vote on a number of governance actions that are outlined here, and I'm gonna link in the first comment below this video. The community can obviously redelegate, can be delegated or re-delegated to by the community. And we're gonna be representing these SPOs as the humans in our Lord of the Rings analogy. So let me just put a little, the humans with a little sword. Let's put a little sword. These are the humans. Now, we did make a Lord of the Rings analogy, and I urge you to not go too deep, to not look too deep into it, because in Lord of the Rings, obviously, all of these were controlled by the One Ring, Sauron, blah, blah, blah. It's not the case. You can imagine the One Ring and Sauron being the Cardano community, basically. But it's, you know, it's a bit of a dark analogy, so we're not going to go there. Anyways, as promised, we're going to actually start, we're going to do a couple of governance actions ourselves now. So let's get back to here, to the browser, and let's look at this new cool tool that launched a few days ago, and it's still in its bootstrap phase, by the way. So just, you know, it's not ideal, but we can actually pull off some very interesting things with it. It's called the Cardano Governance tool, and it's been launched by, it's a website that's been put out by Intersect MBO. Intersect MBO, small parentheses, Intersect MBO is a member-based organization which has to do with Cardano development, right? So after the Cardano keys were you know, handed over from the blockchain custodian to the community, now somebody needs to keep pushing Cardano development, core development forward, and this is what the Intersect MBO does. If you can look into it, by the way, and dive deeper on their website. So basically, they built this cool, very nice tool, very good looking website that hosts this very cool tool. In order to be able to access this tool and pull off some very cool governance actions, we need to connect our wallet. Now I'm using Lace for this purpose, but also Eternal works, NewFi wallet works, I think, and I don't know what other wallets work, but these are like sufficient. Now let's go ahead and connect Lace to our Cardano Gov tool, and you can see that we have this dashboard here with some stuff that we can do. We can delegate voting power. We can become a DRep. As I said earlier, anybody can become a DRep, become a direct voter. Basically, in order to be using our own voting power. By the way, I have 5 ADA here, right? In my Make AF Your DRep wallet. So this is where the 5 ADA comes from. Register to vote on governance actions using your own voting power. It's basically, we're using our own voting power here. If we don't want to delegate to a DRep, we can be independent and vote independently. We can also see governance actions as well as propose governance action. In order to submit a proposal, we need to be a DRep, though. So first of all, let's verify our identity. Okay. I don't know what happened. Okay. I don't know. I don't know. Confirm. We need to press confirm and not enter. Okay. So, can we propose? Nah, we need the username. Anyways, now, these are like the current governance actions that are being proposed right now to the community, so we can, you know, allow treasury withdrawals only when the price of 1 ADA is at or above $1. Jesus Christ. Use Cardano Treasury to build the old WWE headquarters. This sounds like a fun proposal. Anyway, we can see active proposals here, and we can vote on them. If this proposal to be submitted on chain, yes or no, and blah blah blah. Obviously, everybody's voted no. AF pixels. Okay. No. Do not use the Cardano Treasury to buy the old WWE headquarters. This is just an example. Right. We can become a DRep. We can delegate voting power and so on. So, you know, just for a demo, for a quick demo, let's delegate our voting power to AF. Right. This is another wallet that I have. So, bear with me. Let's search for. Okay, I can't find AF like that. As I said, the website can use some improvement. Can definitely use some improvement. Let's see if we can find AF here. Here we go. Here is AF. And let's delegate to AF our 5 ADA. So basically in order to be able to delegate, we need to do a treasury deposit of 2 ADA, similar to when delegating to a stake pool. So basically this is the transaction. We now confirm it. Be careful not to press enter again. By the way, Lace, we need enter. All right, done. Transaction is in progress, and we've successfully delegated to AF, which is me. Which, by the way, you can delegate to me, and you can actually check out my DRep profile here with my objectives. This is a copy paste from Robocop, by the way, which is still legit. But mostly, what I aim to do is focus on everything that has to do with impacting everything that has to do with blockchain gaming and leveling up the user experience, the blockchain user experience. So not necessarily gaming, but everything that has to do with layer 2s, Hydra, and everything that facilitates a better user experience on Cardano with a very dedicated accent on gaming. Right, because I am building a game, I am building a blockchain game, so my interest is to build the best user experience that I can possibly build, and we do need blockchain capability for that. So that's, you know, my core motivation. Obviously, uphold Constitution. Don't spend the entire treasury on buying the former WWE headquarters and stuff like that. And as for my qualifications, well, obviously. I am a Cardano SPO. I've been building on Cardano since 3.5 years ago, so early 2021. I quit my job to build on Cardano, so I'm pretty involved in the ecosystem. I know a thing or two about developing on this blockchain, and I know a thing or two about Cardano. Anyway, here's my credentials. You get a link to my Twitter, which is here. Actually, the pixels.af link, which I thought was pretty fun way to use it for like my personal. And this is my personal Twitter where I post most of my stuff, if not all, and my dank memes and dev diaries. So feel free to check out my Twitter, follow me. If you're delegated to me as a DRep or interested in Pixel Wars or anything that has to do with Dead Pixels, just follow me on Twitter, and you'll get the news as it comes out. Okay, enough of me. I think we've actually managed to delegate to our DRep, to myself, and I think, yeah, great, we're delegated. And if we are to go to Cardano scan, we can actually search for the DRep ID, and we can see that our delegators, this is our last delegator, which was me just now, and we have like, oh, very nice, we have 900k voting power. Very, very cool, very cool. Somebody with 600,000 ADA delegated to it. This is the first time seeing this, by the way. It's very, very cool. Can feel the power. Anyways, so yeah, you can join these 900,000 ADA. You can add some voting power to this. Sorry, I'm just a little bit excited seeing somebody with 600,000 ADA. That's very cool, dude. Thank you for your trust, and thank you for having faith. Very, very cool. Promise I will not disappoint. But yeah, you can see the DRep data here on Cardano scan, and basically you can use this DRep ID to delegate. If you want to use Eternal or Lace, you can delegate from. Actually, I think you can delegate from Eternal from the wallet UI by using this direct DRep ID, or you can just head on over to gov.tools and just find me by DRep ID. You can search by DRep ID. Again, the site is not ideal. Maybe the search could work. But yeah, I'm pretty sure the great guys and girls in Intersect will deal with this. So we've gone through some governance actions. Oh, this is an actual governance action that was submitted on chain by Hosky, and they're basically asking if we are to delegate to call the next hard fork Hosky, but the kind of data is kind of weird. It's kind of badly formatted, and you can see it on chain by following this link. But anyways, I get ahead of myself. This is it. This is basically what you can do. I hope you guys can find the time to actually delegate, not necessarily to me, to delegate to the DRep of your own choosing, and take the time to actually check out these governance proposals. Some of them are actually pretty good. Like, budgeting, guardrails, and stuff like that. Obviously still very, very early, and a lot of people don't know about this, so that's why I'm putting this out there, so you guys can onboard yourselves and become more educated with regards to Cardano governance. Yeah, so delegate to Pixels, delegate to AF as your DRep, or myself as your DRep would be very much appreciated. By the way, DReps don't get paid. I'm not pro DReps being paid, by the way. I think everyone should take their time to involve themselves in governance, especially since this is blockchain and this is what it's all about. So take the time, onboard yourself, watch this clip, check out this CIP 1694, which is very comprehensive, and it's basically a one-stop shop of information. Check out this forum post, which outlines everything these governing bodies can or cannot do. And have a great Sunday ahead, I guess. Have a great rest of your Sunday and rest of your weekend, wherever you may be. This has been AF, signing off. Cheers.